Hi guys, I have another course review video for you. This is an AKC ISC level 3 course that I ran back in, I want to say Memorial Day weekend, I think. So I'm a bit behind on posting it, but I thought it was a pretty cool review, pretty cool course. It's kind of a long video, but I'll give you what's in it up ahead of time. The next 6 minutes are me going over the course map in detail, looking at not just the course, but the dog's path and possible handling maneuvers that you might use in that course. Then the following 20 minutes is me going over the actual run from the trial, what went good and what didn't, and why. And that's the most important part. That's why we review our videos. We want to know, why did we make those mistakes and why did things go good? That's just as good to know as why things went wrong. Because sometimes when a video, or I mean not video, sometimes when your run goes really good, you're just like, woohoo, it was good, and you just don't look back. But it's really important to videotape all your runs and look at why did it go well? And also why did it not go well? And how you're gonna work on that when you get back home. So the third part of the video is me working on those issues. I set up that same course here in my yard and work out through some of those issues that I had with the course. So we'll get right into it. All right, here's our map. This is ISC AKC Level 3 Agility, and the course designer is Carlo Fazio. I believe he's from Italy. So a lot of these ISC trials, they have European course designers. So that it's truly like those type of courses that they're shooting for. So we're just gonna go over dog's path and stuff like that like we normally do. Feel free to pause and screenshot this so that you've got a copy of the map for yourself in case you want to set up any of this at home. And let's go. I'm going to grab my little arrow, and it's a funny little start. So it starts one towards the wall into the tunnel to this jump. Okay, let's start talking about dog's path. So dog's turning left, dog is on the left lead. They are probably going to be coming out on their left lead as well because you're going to be over here. Let me undo that. That's the person. You're going to be, whoops. You're going to be, yeah, that's the person, right? Dog is going to be on their left lead. This number 4 is, I don't know, the way it was set up and the way I have it set up in my yard, as the dog is landing from that broad jump, they're just sort of seeing the edge of the wing. It's not necessarily a backside to the dog or an inside. It's not super obvious, I guess, would be my thing. So I treated this as an in-in. An in-in is a throttle, and it's typically where you're already on the backside of the jump, but the dog is not. So they have to come in to your side of the wing before they take the jump. So that's how I treated this one. So you'll see that in the video, but they are going to have to switch to a right lead temporarily to get that jump. And then they're back on the left lead to get onto the A-frame. Then after the A-frame, this actually looked, walking it seemed like, oh, this is going to be tricky. So you'll see in the video whether it was or not. But they have to come out to this jump and then into the tunnel. Whoops, hold on. Let's go back to yellow. I know. I'm not very good with the smooth lines there. Into the tunnel. So your dog is on the left lead as they are switching out to this number 6 jump. They're back on their right lead. And then they're going to stay on their right lead into this tunnel. Oop, oh, wait. So, not the tunnel. Let me undo. They're going out to this jump first. 8. And then into the tunnel. So the dog is on the right lead, and they are going to have to switch to a left lead to get to number 8. And then they're going to switch back to the right lead for number 9. And again, out to a left lead for number 10. Way out here. And we'll talk more about handling options when we watch the actual video. So people handle this a number of different ways. All right. 12 and 13, actually, everyone that I walked this course with was just like, what on earth are we going to do for 12 and 13? Because when we first look at the dog's path, the best path for the dog is to slice 12. That's not very good line. And then hit 13 like this to 14. That is a terrible line. I'm fixing that. Let me see if I can do it better. I can only use my finger. If I had a little drawing implement, maybe it would be easier. But you can imagine the dog could come straight out of the weave poles and slice, and then they can come and slice 13 right into the dog walk. That would be the dog's ideal path. However, you can see jump 20 is right there. That's a wall jump. And it might be very hard to have the dog slice and then turn. So a slice is typically extension versus collection. Like you turn, collection means you're turning, right? And the dog does have to turn right after 12 pretty tightly to avoid getting the wall jump and getting to 13. So thinking about that, you might decide, well, maybe my dog's path might be somewhat different. I think if number 20 was not there or it was farther away, this would be the best dog path. And I still think it's the best dog's path regardless, because this is the smoothest for the dog. However, another option is having the dog wrap, and then they could wrap and then onto the dog walk, which I'll tell you up front, that's what I did, and that's actually what a lot of people did. You can imagine what happened to people that tried to do the dog's path that I first showed you. Did not turn out how we wanted it to. I don't remember if there's anybody who got that. There might have been one or two. But that's the dog's path that I chose. Again, it's a bit swirly, maybe not the most direct route for the dog, but it gets the job done. And normally I tell my students, if there's an off-course obstacle that your dog could take that they're not supposed to, like jump number 20 there, I tell them pretend it's not there, because when you overhandle in the hopes that they don't take that one, then they usually end up making mistakes somewhere. But in this case, I'm not overhandling. What I would mean by overhandling is if I sent them over 12, like that first way I showed, like to slice it, and then I'm trying to like get in there and make them collect and then call them off number 20, could potentially pull them to the wrong side of 13. So that's what I mean by overhandling. So instead, I'm choosing a completely different handling option. All right, after the dog walk, dog comes way out to number 15, and that was as far as it seems on the map. It was that far. So out to 15, 16. So now your dog is on a right lead for 15, 16, 17. And then once they're coming out of this tunnel, they need to switch to the left lead and then out. And this tire is the very last jump. So your dog is basically on the right lead for the rest of the course. That's our course overview. Now let's watch us actually run the course. Here we go, just running the course.
Really nice, so close, so close.
Sadness. The course was clean until that very last obstacle. She was supposed to take the tire, not that broad jump. We'll get to that, what happened. So until then, there were no faults. Was it pretty? We'll talk about that as we go, whether that was pretty or not. So let's dive in. I'm gonna zoom. Whoops, let's go back. I'm gonna zoom in a little. Oh, let me zoom in. There we go. Okay. I don't want to zoom in too much. Okay. Hold on. All right. Whoops. I don't know how I just made it go to the end again. Hold on. Okay. So I'm going to try to fast forward this, or not fast forward, but slow-mo through this. If I play it back in halftime, it also makes my voice slow. unless I'm using the app wrong. So I'm going to try to use, there's this little wheel. Oh, see? All right, let me see. I'm using the wheel. Okay, I was using the wheel the wrong direction. Okay. You can't see it on the screen, but there's this little wheel thing that I can like scroll to make it go exactly how much slow motion I want or how fast I want it to go. So that's how I'm doing this. Okay. So I also talk to my students a lot about a collection versus extension. Here's a good view of a dog, obviously extending over a broad jump. They're not going to collect here. So I'm already calling my in, and I'm using my opposite arm to kind of guide her away from me. Now, in general, when you bring up your opposite arm, your dog is going to naturally want to pull into you, especially if you bring it up like this, like it's bent. But when it's out like a tennis serve, that can kind of help support the dogs, like push them away from you. It could be, and what it's doing too is it's changing how your chest is. If your arm is just up and bent towards your chest, say, and like your fist comes up like chest level, that definitely does pull the dog in. And your chest is still going which direction you want it to. But I'm gonna move this a little bit. But when you have your left arm, like my left arm is up and kind of more like a tennis serve type of thing, it's also making my chest go. Let me see, I get my little thing. It's making my chest point at that jump where I want her to go versus being straight. So hopefully that makes sense. Okay. Let's zoom out here. Okay. She takes this jump just fine. She totally read that in. She's sliced beautifully. She's on her left lead. She's run into the A-frame. And I am starting what's going to be a lap turn. So if you can see, you can't really see, I guess. Yeah, I'm not doing a very good lap turn. Normally a lap turn is where you'd bring your, in this situation, would be my left arm and kind of reaching out towards my right to, like, if I'm grabbing her by the nose, pulling across the front of my body and then sending her over the jump. Good girl, because I looks like I wasn't super clear on that. But that's kind of a maneuver like she's really good at doing naturally. Then I'm sending her. So now I'm telling her out. Whoops. Let's turn that off so I can zoom back in. Whoops. I'm telling her out. So my arm is up. My chest is towards the direction of that tunnel entrance. And she goes just fine. So far, this course is running smooth. Like, I don't see anything like I need to really necessarily do different or improve. She's just cruising along, which is nice to see. And then here's where it gets a little less pretty. Okay, so I'm using in again, as if this is a throttle, because the line coming out of, coming out of this tunnel, I want to make sure she finds that. She's going to potentially like curl back, like, because where she left me, she might be wanting to come back like that potentially. So I'm going to start calling out the in. So as soon as she sees my body language for the in, I start calling it, she should be looking for a jump ahead of us. So I'm in, I'm doing my same thing. And I also, the hard thing about this though, is that I need her to slice that bar, but then also turn into that blue tunnel there. And again, in is a inside slice throttle, and it's going to set the dog up to extend, not necessarily collect, unless you can show her before she really takes off that this is collection coming her way. And that's what I'm trying to do, but look how far behind I am. So here I am trying to see, I'm bringing up that opposite arm. My right arm is up, and that's like the turn into me, please cue. But I'm also still running that direction. So my motion is going, and the speed of my motion is going to trump anything else that I'm probably giving her. So she lands, look at her, fully committed to extension. So she doesn't realize we're turning till right there, like where I get that head turn. Right about there. She's like, oh, you want me to go that way? So that cue to turn was late. She went a little wide, but it's still not a fault. So we're still good to go here. We're going. I'm still like desperately trying to get my front cross in. This is like the ugliest front cross I've ever seen. But I managed to finish it. I could have rear crossed this and maybe gotten a little bit, like it would have been, I guess, more of a, I wouldn't have, if I had not tried to front cross and I just kept her on my left for that jump and the tunnel, I probably could have gotten a little bit of a tighter turn than that ugly front cross. But because of where we're going next, I wanted to make sure we're going out to that blue jump. Oop, I am pointing to it like you can see it. Let me do this. We're going out to that jump next. So if she enters this tunnel where we're about to enter on my right, she is more likely to come out of that tunnel to her left looking for me. Where if I don't pull off a rear cross, it's an awful rough angle if I try to pull off a rear cross in there. She might have come out of that tunnel then, coming this way looking for me, and I want her to come out looking that way. So that's why I was trying desperately to get that front cross in. And we made it barely by the skin of our teeth. She goes in. Oh, that's right. Oh, you know what? She's not going to that blue jump. Never mind. Okay, back up. Da, 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 da. I'm going to restate that then because she's going out to the white. There's a white jump out there, and then she's going to the weaves. I'm not redoing my video to fix that. I'm going to tell you right now that that was a boo-boo. I need to be looking at my map. But it's kind of the same thing. I think if I had rear crossed it, maybe she would have still been able to go out to that jump. But then I really risk, like if I'm here and I'm rear crossing this, I really risk actually now her coming out and thinking it's this tunnel. So that's why I was trying desperately for that front cross. Not that different, but make sure we're not making mistakes. That's where she's going. Okay, so I run, and now I'm screaming out, out, out. Out means laterally move away from me, and also it's going to be forward movement as well. But it means if you're on my right and I say out, especially using my right arm, then she should laterally move out away from me and then find that jump. And there's only one jump out there, so she finds it. It's a little messy though, right? Like you can't quite see this angle, but you can see her little tail. See how she's like headed in me and then towards me, and then I had to send her back out. So you can see just her tail. And now she's going back out, right? So her path was kind of like in and then went back out. Where it could have been a straight shot because it is a straight shot. But again, dogs are going to turn back towards you coming out of tunnels. And I'm not sure when I started yelling out. I should have started yelling out while she's still in the tunnel, but they still might take a step towards you. So things to think about as you're planning this. Okay, she gets that jump. She gets into the weave pull. She's got pretty independent weaves, so I can send and run. Now we're up to that 12, 13. Whoops. Hold on. I don't want that there. Now we're to that 12, 13. So she's got to wrap what from our view is the front side of that blue one to the back side of this next one. So just so you remember, the dog's path from the weave poles is to take this jump, whether you're coming this way and then that way to here. So you can see how close this wall jump, that's number 20, how close it is. So let's keep rolling. So I blinded after the weave poles. So now she's on my left. So now this is a simple backside wrap. I'm giving her collection there because I really want her to wrap tight. So that's the collection cue I'm giving her with a little knee bend in my two hands. And then I'm blinding. She's going to land and come behind me. So I've got her on my left, and I'm going to have her do another backside wrap. I'm all starting to give her collection. We're going to do another blind. And notice when you do these wraps to a blind, I'm keeping my eyeballs on her. Keeping my eyeballs. I'm pretty sure she's going. Now I start to look to my left. And there she is. Good. That went really smooth, actually. And at this point, I'm thinking, we're going to do it. We're going to do it, right? Like, You don't want to be thinking about the outcome while you're running, but when you're doing a really hard course like this and you've gotten this far with like no faults, deep inside, despite the fact that you're trying to stay focused and in the moment, there's a part of you that's like, we're gonna do it, right? But you try not to think about that. You try to stay in the moment, right? But that stuff, like, this is kind of the point, at least for me, where it starts to enter into my head. Okay, I'm gonna zoom that there. All right, so it does the dog walk. She's ahead of me, so there's nothing I can do about whether she's gonna get that dog walk or not. If you've watched my other videos, I've mentioned how she had perfectly beautiful stopped contacts that she never missed for years and years until I started to just do a quick release, which turned to an early release for herself, like a self-release on her part, to what looks like a running contact. Very stressful. And that's something I've always told my students never to do, and then there I was doing it. I did not intend for that to happen. I did not want running contacts. I just wanted to release her quicker so that, you know, she could be fast. I regret that so much. All right, now she's going out to that jump. She's out to the jump. Now I'm starting to slow down. So if you can see, and I'm bringing up that opposite arm. My right arm is opposite side to her, telling her to turn in. I'm calling her. So when you hear me say come or star here, it's because I didn't really manage what I wanted to do prior to that. So I would have liked to have been able to give her more collection on that jump, but it was so far I was really sending her. And you can do collection at a distance, but in this case, I did not pull it off. I'm just telling her, go out. And so look at how she's landing. She needs to come. There's the next jump is kind of right behind. The next jump is kind of right behind there. And look, she's going this way. And I needed her to wrap that and come back. So I'm calling her. It's a call off, which is not ideal, but we are getting through the course and so far no faults. Okay. She comes back. She takes that jump there. You can see the jump just through. There it is. Takes that jump just fine. But now we have to go blue tunnel. So I'm trying to pull off another ugly front cross because I want to be on this side of that tunnel, because after the tunnel, she's going to hit that jump to the teeter. So I'm trying another ugly attempt at a front cross. But it wasn't quite as ugly as the one before. She's in. It was not pretty, but there, we got it. Okay, so now I'm telling her out because I don't want her to turn back in. Like, if I don't give her enough information, she's potentially going to come back towards me. And when she turns towards me to find me, she's going to see this tunnel right in front of her. So I don't want that. So I've got to say out. I want her to come out here. And let's see what she does. She doesn't even question it. Look at that good girl. To the teeter. She's done a few teeter fly-offs lately, and I just had to trust it because there's no way I could be near her to do the teeter. I'm going to be layering this blue jump right here, and layering just means this jump is between me and my dog, so I'm layering that jump. So, and look how far behind I am. I have to trust that she's going to do that teeter nicely. And so technically it's a little, I know we didn't call it. It's a little blurry. Man, it looks like at this point she might have back paws on it, but you can definitely tell the teeter has not touched the ground yet. So I'm gonna just do it a little frame by frame. She definitely, all right. So technically, let's go back one. I honestly can't tell if there's a foot. There's definitely, I would say, if I had to guess, even though this is blurry, she still has a foot on it at this point. She definitely does not have a foot on it at this point, but the teeter's down on the ground. So this happened really fast, so I can see why the judge didn't call it, and thankfully he didn't. Yay. Okay. I'm gonna zoom out. And whoops. Let me get rid of that. This is where the sadness happened, because until now, this was still no faults, clean run. She's taken the wall jump. And it's the tire. It's a pretty tight turn to that tire, actually. But she takes it. She's looking at me. You can see that little head turn. She is looking at me. I've got my opposite arm up that says, please turn into me. So at this point, we still had hope. We had hope. Look, she's looking. She's looking. I feel like I am looking at her. She's looking at me. And now look at that first step right there. That's when she made the decision to go to the broad jump. Let's see if I'm right if we keep going. Yep. She's looking at me. She said, got it, Mom. And look where she's heading. So, and look at my motion. My motion is unclear. I mean, I guess I should have said my body language where my chest is pointed is a little unclear. Yes, it's pointed at the tire, but technically it's also pointed at the broad jump, which is right behind it. So, and my motion. So what I should have done is a decel. Let her see that change in my motion. So what I'm thinking is right here, if I had slowed down, look how forward I'm leaning. I am full running here. I needed to decel, make sure I had her head, and then went for it because she just went right for that. Right for it. And here's where the sadness begins. And she's like, wee, I did the right thing, Mama. And there I am sad. And you can tell, like, because this was such a hard course, nobody ran this clean. I think there was one person, at least in her jump height, that had a fault. So you can technically qualify with a fault. But nobody ran it absolutely clean with no faults. So you can hear the crowd. So the crowd gets it. They totally get it. How disappointing that can be. We fought so hard. We had some ugly moments, but fault-free until that very end. So that's why I came home and set this one up. I wanted to practice it again so that I could make those ugly parts a little bit cleaner and see if, you know, I could get the turns, like getting into those two tunnels were probably the two ugliest points on the course. And then that 12-13, which I'll remind you again was weave pulls to this and then to the backside here. I wanted to try it. I was not brave enough to try it at the trial. You saw how I did a backside wrap to a blind on both of those. But I wanted to go home and see, could I really get her to do just taking it as a slice on both of those. So that's what we set up at home. So I'm going to show you guys that next. All right. Here's our little practice session. I got the course set up at home. Let's see what happens. So far, so good. Ah, she went the wrong way. Okay, let me zoom in and we're gonna see what happened. Backing up. I'm glad that didn't happen at the trial, although it would not have been a fault. Would have wasted a lot of time though. All right, so as I'm taking off, I think I just have my chest pointed too much to like the left. And I'm just sort of slowing down too much. So, yeah, even though I've got my arm up pretty early. But she's already committed. I'm putting my arm up right now, but she's already committed to going to the left. So, too late. Yeah, I think I needed to turn into her a little bit more. But again, that would not have been a fault at the trial. Yep. I'm really like, at this point, here, we can zoom in more. She's taking off. She just has back feet on the ground at this point. And look at where my chest is pointed, my motion. I'm starting to rock back a little bit on my feet, but I'm still going in this direction. So she thinks she's slicing and going to the left. Whoops. So we start over. Oh. Okay. Go in the right direction. Still an ugly front cross, but I think she was ever so slightly tighter. And she had a little bobble on the way out to that jump too, didn't she? All right, this is what I'm gonna try. And she took the wrong side of it, I think. Let me zoom in, hold on. Whoops, I gotta go backwards. Hold on. Going backwards. Yeah, so she took the inside of that jump instead of the back side. So she took the wrong side of that jump. That's hard. And you can see I have a double jump. This is where the wall jump is supposed to be. Drop the bar this time. Darn it. So we're gonna go back. Let me pause this for a sec. Because this didn't happen in the trial, but this is worth analyzing. Just gotta go back a little bit. Okay. I'm gonna zoom in and then we can watch what happens. Okay, I think she's going. We've done this so many times, I'm taking for granted. Look at it, I completely disconnected from her. I'm like, bye-bye, going away. And she's taken off, and so she's going to be like, Mom. She just nicks it with that foot. Darn. We're gonna go back and do it again. All right. Next round. Yeah, see, I supported it more there. See how much I turn? I want to pop, like, because I made this mistake before. Whoops, let's go back again. Can I zoom in more? I can. So I'm out farther from that jump and I don't really need to be that far, but look at how I've positioned myself. All right, let me back up a bit. So as she's coming, I'm using my throttle arm, kind of doing like a lap turn, but look how I'm now really turned into her. My chest is pointed at the jump and I'm turning, already starting to turn to my right, which is starting to tell her, yep, she's going to also, and I'm already cutting behind her before she takes off, kind of like a rear cross. I've already cut behind her before she's committed to that jump. So she knows she should expect to see me on her right when she completes this jump. So that's gonna make her turn to the right. There she goes. All right, back to full height, or full screen. Much better that time. So my position there, let's zoom in here. So I'm still performing kind of an ugly front cross because she's kind of behind me. But before, like, I was still over here trying to get my front cross in. So that is better. I smoothed that out. Okay. Back to full screen. So why didn't she go out? Let's look at that. Oops. So this is the concern, right? So when you're sending your dog in the tunnel, she's gonna come out looking towards me. But I'm also running that direction, right? So let me get my little arrow back here. I'm kind of running that direction, where before I was really pushing back out there like I did at the trial. I think at this point I was probably taking for granted she's just gonna go because we've done this a few times now, but that's what happened. That is what happened. There, my annoyed tone of voice. Out! We got this first part down. I don't think I ran this clean from beginning to end at home. We just ended up working on parts of it. So I'm trying the same thing that I did at the trial. I'm doing my backside wraps to blind. Don't mind Star, she's sitting here next to me whining because she hears agility happening. Nice. I did a better front cross there too. I didn't get in her way. Oop. She almost went out to that white jump though. She still missed it. Yeah. That's me. Here I do. Try it again. Yeah, she just needed more collection. So collection's hard to do. That's a double jump that I set up. I don't have a wall jump, so the next best thing is kind of a double jump. She's crying. Because it's wider, so it's not just jumping a certain height. They have to jump a certain width as well. I hesitate to give collection at the wall jump because those small little foam pieces at the top, she's nicked those a number of times and knocked them off. So, yeah. But even with my double jump, same thing. Okay. We're trying the end again. Got it right this time. Yeah, I needed much more collection that time. Okay, don't mind my husband sawing something in the background, but I wanted to show you trying to do... That's what I thought would happen with the trial. That's why I didn't do it. We're trying to do 12, 13. There's only a few seconds of his... I don't know. He didn't know I was filming. So he was, I don't know, cutting up pieces of wood or something. Try it again. Look how I had to manage that. Right? So if it's not pretty. Star's crying. It's like super hot today, so we're probably not going to do agility outside today. So look, I'm saying here to keep her off of that double jump, which would have been the wall jump number 20. But then she comes in too much. Then I'm like, oh, now I got to push her back out. So that is not pretty. And that wastes time too. And you end up chancing a mistake. So I made the right decision at the trial to do 2 backside wraps to a blind in a row. Yep.
Yeah.
Agreeing with myself.
Better.
Yep, that was ugly as well. I'm getting lazy at this point. I think we're both tired. This is just about the end. Try it one more time. Oh, nope. I end up just pointing at that jump.
I am pointed there, but I am like looking at her. Oh, you're getting tired. Do it one more time.
This is when you should quit, guys. If both you and your dog are hot and tired, you just quit while you're ahead. I shouldn't have tried that another time.
Well, I'm pretty sure we made the right choice in the trial, didn't we? That was worth trying. Because there are people that thought about doing that. We definitely need to work on the tire more. I've noticed the tires, she doesn't like really seek it out. And I don't have a separate verbal for it. So, I don't know if I'm in the camera. Yeah, I'm glad that we did not try the forward send to the backside slice onto 12-13 at the trial because I'm pretty sure that would not have worked. It seemed a little awkward to make them wrap twice in a row like that, but that's what everybody did, most people. And then the tire, she doesn't really, it's not as visible, especially this angle. Hopefully I have the same angle set up that I did at the trial. But I think what she needs is a little more work for like just finding the tire and having a separate word for the tire. I've already taught my younger dog Banner that tire is tire instead of just for her. All jumps are over. The broad jump, the tire jump, the wall jump, the double jump, everything is just over. She's taking it straight. And for Banner, I'm teaching him the word tire for the tire. And for the broad jump, I'm teaching him the word big so that it's, because sometimes these obstacles are really close. The flow for the dog might be still nice, but the obstacles are close. Not that they're taking them close. What I mean is like, the obstacles might be really close together. You're not taking them in sequence, but they've got to pick one of those. So I'm hoping that teaching different verbals will kind of help him search for that because he's going to be a bit faster than Star. So that's my practice. Friday morning, time for coffee.
Yep, so that's practice. And when you look on the map, like a lot of these ISC courses, especially the level 3, it looks like the obstacles are all really close together. And that's what I was trying to talk about. Like the dog's path that has lots of space in between each obstacles on their path. But as they're approaching one obstacle, there's another one really close by that they're not supposed to take. And that's why it makes some of these challenges really difficult. So that wall jump being there as an off course was, you know, probably one of the bigger challenges too. And then those 2 tunnels under the dog walk are fairly close as well. So, and having to bypass, what's that, number 16 after the A-frame, you got to bypass one and go out to that orange one that I have on the field, number 6. So those are some of the challenges that you see in these courses, which are super fun. And it just goes to show Star is almost 8 years old and we've competed at some pretty high levels, but we still have some things that we can learn and things to work on. And that's what I love about agility is you're never done. There's always something new and fun to learn. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching my what's probably now a really long video. Please like and subscribe. If you'd like to see more of these, let me know in the comments. If you're interested in having me review any of your videos from trials, send me a message. You can comment. You can go to my website, heathersdogschool.com, and contact me that way as well. All right, bye.